Hey guys, welcome back to the Gifted and Insane featuring me, Marzette, and my co host Jabri. We got an episode called The Monday Morning Quarterback. That's right, the Monday Morning Quarterback. So listen up and get our take on what we feel about that particular title, that particular subject matter. We have some good stuff to give to you. And also, I got some exciting news to tell you guys. We are now on YouTube. That's right. We have our audio uploaded and we are connected to YouTube. So please go there, like, follow, and subscribe and help us grow our tribe on that platform. As always, we're thankful for your support. Now, let's get into this next episode, The Monday Morning Quarterback. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Gifted and Insane, everybody. As per usual, it's me and my man Jabri. How's it going, brother?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm too blessed to be stressed as usual. I'm stressed, but I'm still blessed, but not enough to throw me off my course.
I heard that, man. I mean, it's always something, and that saying is always something, but we always look for the light. Even though we sound like the glass is half empty, we're some half full guys, but we just understand that when you're going through things, you make the decisions on what to do with the information that you have. I mean, I think that makes sense for everybody, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a long day. Definitely a long day.
Right. And we always look back on our long days and always hit ourselves with the shoulda, woulda, coulda. The shoulda, woulda, coulda. And of course, we're always experts in hindsight. And so that's why we're calling this episode is going to be called the Monday Morning Quarterback. And that's exactly what we do when we experience something and then we go back and we reflect on it. Usually, when we reflect, we gain more information than we had before we were experiencing that stuff that we were going through. And we always become an expert like, oh man, I should have done this. Or I should have done that. Or damn, if I just had this and that would have been great. That's hindsight. And hindsight, we're always geniuses. But in being a Monday morning quarterback, we got to figure out that we had the play in front of us. We had the thing play out in front of us, and we did or made our decisions based on what we were feeling or experiencing at the moment. For those of you who don't know, who may be listening in other countries, who just aren't sports heads or anything like that, according to dictionary.com, a Monday morning quarterback is a person who criticizes the actions and decisions of others after the fact, using hindsight to assess situations and specifically alternative solutions. Now, the term Monday morning quarterback is applied to this because back in the day, football was played mainly on Sundays. So, after each game was played on Sunday or Sunday night, of course, the person on Monday morning could look back at the entire game in its entirety from the outside looking in and have all the information and then would preach about the shoulda, woulda, couldas. Oh, they should have passed it down this way, or they should have handed it off at this play. They should have done it like this or done it like that. But that's easy to say when you're looking from the outside of the situation after it's already occurred. We tend to do that to ourselves. I know I'm guilty of that stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we beat ourselves up most of the time, the Monday morning quarterback, and I think it's taking out on yourself with your self-talk and ruminating about a bad situation that you probably made and beating yourself up. But another angle I like to look at Monday morning quarterbacking from is the angle of, especially in today's society and with the internet and everybody having access to so many rumors and so many people's information. We talk about other people and what I would do if I was in that situation, or oh, he's got this much amount of money. If I was him, I'd be doing this. If I was her, I'd be doing that. But you never really know what a person had to go through to get where they were at that to get to that position that they're in. And then with that position, like say greater levels, greater devils. You don't know the kind of people you don't know the kind of things that those people are fighting just to maintain, what they've gained through what they've gone through. So I think that's another way to look at Monday morning quarterbacking when you look at it as from the aspect of, a judgmental lens.
That's very true. But and still, with the example you gave, people make huge judgments on somebody just again looking from the outside in, because you can be like a duck on a pond. You know how they say a duck on a pond, it looks very smooth, it's gliding across the water, but if you look below the surface, the legs are going wild as hell trying to keep that duck moving forward. So that's kind of how it is with a lot of people. They have things that they're managing underneath, and they may look stoic, or they may look good, or they may smile for the cameras, or they may smile for just the people around the office. But we never really know what's simmering underneath, and we never have all the details. And even if we do, sometimes perception will skew that. We'll see it as, that's, that's a great problem to have. Until you go through it, you can sit up here and say that would be a great problem to have. But seriously, you don't really know until you feel the weight of whatever that person is feeling. So I like your point there, because we never really know. A lot of people, they actually come up with an entire bakery of things off a slice of pie. It's like, you just have this slice of pie here. You don't know what the hell is in the bakery. You don't.
Right.
You're painting a whole mural with a drop of paint. You don't really know what's going on. And in terms of ourselves, when we Monday morning quarterback ourselves, we don't understand that hindsight can be used as a tool to aid us in our growth, a tool to help us learn, like, okay, the next time I get caught in this situation, I'm going to take a look around, or I'm going to ask around, or I'm going to try to gather more information if I can. Because again, if your quarterback got like a 300 some pound dude heading towards you, at 15, 20 miles an hour, however fast they are nowadays, because them big dudes can move. I mean, you don't know what kind of pressures a person is under, and then they have to just, it's like being under the gun. You gotta get that ball out of there. You gotta, or make that decision, or you gotta go to this place, or say this to this person in a pressure packed situation. So with ourselves, we need to be a lot more lenient. We need to look at it with an understanding eye and understand the situations that we were in before, learn from them, and let them go. Because to me, you're sinning against yourself if you constantly Monday morning quarterback. Because you can tell some people that do it, they try to talk about themselves before others have a chance to talk about them.
Right.
And hell,
Yeah.
that's some pregame shit right there, because you don't know what that person's going to say, but you're like, okay, well, I'm in my own head about this, so they're probably thinking the same thing that I'm thinking, and I'm going to say this about myself. And it's like it's this cauldron of turmoil and negativity that's going to keep you stifled and from growing. And then
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that too. As far as even when you say the sinner, using the word sinner, not even to be religious. Sometimes that's why they say judging other people is a sin, because actually what you're doing is you're hurting yourself by even taking the energy away from whatever it is that you have going, to take the time out to assume something about another person. And a lot of times that comes from a lack of communication with those other individuals, because I'm sure you've had this experience as well. When you have something going on, say for instance at work, and then you have a few people gossiping about something, some certain situation, and you haven't heard it directly from the person, and then you come to these conclusions about this person, and the next thing you know, you've created this whole egregor of who this person is. And once you find out whatever the situation was, you're like, man, it's something totally different from this whole idea that we've all created about this person. So that's where the false judgment becomes a sin, like on your part.
right, because that follow up needs to happen. I think that it's not bad to take in the information, but you have to process it and leave it open ended, if that makes sense. You have to be willing to receive more information about the situation, because just like I said, you don't know what's in the bakery just off a slice of pie. Because I don't know anybody that eats like boysenberry pie or whatever, but if it sucks, you can't judge the peach pie, the apple pie, the sweet potato pie, or anything else, or any of the other delicious baked goods that may be inside that bakery off that one slice of pie. So if we go off on this person, or we go off and believe, I should say, a certain narrative about a person, maybe that person is having a bad day. Maybe that person is going through something. Maybe that person has some sort of underlying condition that we don't know about. And maybe they were just having, experiencing something that day. Because
Right.
I know that I'm guilty of that. I've come to quick conclusions because sometimes if I'm in a rush and I'm not in the mood myself, I will accept that quick conclusion and keep it moving. But the nice guy in me will still leave something open ended to learn something new about this person or whoever we're talking about. And one thing that I need to do is like give myself the benefit of the doubt if I'm going through something too. Because if we mess up, we have to understand that we can't wear our mistakes like a coat that we don't want to wear, you
Hmm.
know, because I was taught back in the day that, if somebody showed up on your doorstep with an ugly green coat that looks like skunk fur or something like that, and they tell you, okay, you're going to wear this coat, you look at them like they're a fool. So why would you put it on willingly, for yourself? If somebody else asked you to do it, you won't do it. So why would you do it on your own? So that's just like wearing your mistakes is like, hauling the past forward. I told you.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry,
you're
brother.
absolutely right. No, I'm just saying, because I was just thinking, like, you're absolutely right. That is like wearing your mistakes. That's another way to look at Monday morning quarterbacking. But what I was talking about, I guess that might be considered like Saturday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah, yeah, I was talking
Like,
about pregame. We were talking about
right.
pregame right there, or something like the how the talking heads on the TV, like they do their they're paid to analyze stuff and make their predictions and stuff like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with forecasting and preparing, but at the same time, there has to be an open end to where it's not like some kind of a closed loop, kind of judgmental, kind of and detrimental kind of thing that you do to yourself first, and then maybe not to others. But we have to make sure that we give ourselves a leeway, a benefit of doubt, like, hey, damn, I was sick, or damn, I didn't have all the information, or hey, I just didn't prepare enough to face whatever I faced the other day, or I wasn't prepared because I didn't know what to prepare for. Still, mistakes that you don't wear like a coat that you don't want to wear. And I told this kid, and this kid had something awful happen to her, and she was hauling it around with her, and it wasn't her fault. And I told her, it's just the carrying that weight with you is like carrying a backpack full of bricks, just everywhere, and it's just weighing you down. You can make a choice. You can carry that backpack with you and let it weigh you down, or you can use the bricks in the backpack to build something new for yourself. You can use that
Absolutely.
to lay a foundation for yourself, or you can use them to hurl at your demons. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? You can make them useful. Or if you don't want that in your life anymore, take a brick out a day if you can. Find ways of doing that. And everybody, I'm pretty sure you guys understand what I mean by what a brick is. It's just the weight of whatever mistake you made or whatever happened to you or whatever's going on. You have to address that backpack, or you're not going to move forward. You're not going, or you can move forward, but at a snail's pace, with a weight on you that you don't need and you don't deserve. And after a certain point, unfortunately, you got to understand that it's your fault for keeping that backpack on you and not doing
W-
nothing with its contents.
Now, when I was doing a little research when we came up with the title for the tonight's broadcast, there's certain studies that actually there's cultures and languages that don't have words for should have, could have, or certain things that happened in the past because it's like they don't feel that there's a need to even address like the thought of those I should have statements because it's unnecessary. It's not fruitful. It's not fruitful for the present, and it's not fruitful for the past. The only thing that the past is good for is a reference and to maybe do something and correct the future, but to ruminate on it and shoulda coulda woulda. That's another term that people use for Monday morning quarterbacking. And at the end of the day, it's really not healthy.
No, and it don't help anything either. Like I said, you can reflect to learn, but then you have to, hey, take the brick out. Leave it down, or just lighten your load some kind of way. And some of us need help to do that because as strong as we are as individuals, as great as personalities that we have, some things we don't know how to do. And okay, that's understandable and that's all right. Seek help, ask around, or talk to people that you're safe with because your information can't rest certain information about you can't rest with everybody because everybody doesn't have the capacity to handle the things that are precious to you like they're supposed to. So find that safe person, find that safe place, and work on it because you're worth it. You're worth the effort. You're worth the work. You'll put in work anywhere else because you'll give that anywhere else or anyone else that value that you need to establish within yourself. And I'm looking in the mirror preaching to the choir because there's always something for me to do, not in a negative way, but in terms of building. And there's nothing wrong with building. Now tearing down, that's something totally different. That's active, that takes energy, a negative energy, and it's a different act. We need to change up our acts. Period. So I still got the bug. I Monday morning quarterback a lot of things, not only for myself but for other people, and I try to make sure that I am looking at it in a way with the eyes of positivity, so I can be better, do better, and help somebody else be better and do better. Not for the sake of tearing people down. So that Monday morning quarterback, sometimes if you don't have the right playbook, you just you're not in it to win it. You got to be in it to win it. The only reason why, and speaking of football players, they watch film. They watch film to see what they've done. They watch film to see what other people are doing so they can make corrections and maybe like recognize another situation that they may be in and they can act differently. They can
Hmm.
act accordingly for to make a play, to make a good play, to help their overall team win. So that's what we have to do for ourselves because a lot of this stuff is useless. And I like how you brought up that the cultures that don't even have these words even in their vocabulary, shoulda, woulda, coulda, because that pulls you back. That pulls you back to a place where you probably don't even need to go. That to me shows acceptance. A
Hmm.
lot of us have an issue with acceptance. Like, okay, my car crashed or something like that. And I should have turned left instead of right, or I should have left 5 minutes earlier. I could have, swerved to the right or whatever, but you were in a pressure packed situation and this actually happened. So you need to go about your business and get your car fixed, heal your body, heal your mind because that car crashes are traumatic. Whether somebody gets
Yeah.
hurt or dies or not, those things are traumatic, and things start showing up not only in your mind because you may replay it, your body feels that later. I remember I crashed one time and it took me about a day or two and I felt like trash. I felt bad, dude. So I had to move on. Like ruminating on it, like you're saying, it's not going to stop that hood from being folded in half. It's not going to stop your radiator fluid from leaking all over the freeway or highway or wherever you crashed. It's not. So you have to get about the business of pushing forward. You know,
Right.
I mean, and I'm not, and a lot of people, they would think we're talking about they can't react to certain things or they can't be human in a situation. If you're scared or if you're angry, if you're upset, we are humans. Those emotions are a part of us, whether we like it or not. Those emotions are a part of us. Yes, experience what you're going to experience, but it's going to be a certain time where you're going to have to shut off the spin cycle, so to speak. Because just going around and around and around about it and being pissed off while you're spinning on your little spin cycle of being pissed off, the world still moves. Your life is still going ahead. What?
Right, exactly. And you're holding yourself back by holding on to the certain traumatic situations are, like you said, when you talk about the car accident, like something tragic, or what brings to mind for me is a term that a lot of psychologists in therapy sessions a lot of times they'll use words like catastrophic thinking.
Mm.
And I think what that does when you are Monday morning quarterbacking, it creates a level of like catastrophic thinking, which means everything you feel like is the end of the world. So you're like, I made this little one mistake, and you're just like completely torturing and beating yourself up about it, like for days at a time, and you're not getting the lesson from it, and you're not moving on, and what you're doing is you're ruining the present, and it becomes something that you're so comfortable with that it becomes that place of that comfort zone, the comfort zone of ruminating on a catastrophic thought. And it may be something that was really so small, there's really no reason. Just get the lesson and move on from it. It's not all or nothing. Things shouldn't just be all or nothing. You have to find that middle ground.
Right, because that's that type of stuff is it's sort of painting yourself in a corner and the all or nothing thing. Like, and then if you fail, so to speak, because a lot of times if it just don't work, it just didn't work. You didn't fail. You just the the effort that you put forth and the plan that you had just didn't match the situation. Oh, I failed. I failed. There we go. We're putting on the coat. We're putting more bricks in the backpack. Let's go. And wondering why it's like the people that people put a rubber band on a rosebud, and they mad because it's not growing, mad because it's
Mhm.
not blooming. It's like, how are you mad that it's not blooming and you got a rubber band on it? It's not the petals can't spread. So don't do that. And that's the way of what they do with this type of thinking. Because as I understand it, I guess catastrophic thinking is when you get stuck in one of those negative thought loops. That's kind of what it is. And let's see here. According to the AMA, American Medical Association, they say catastrophic thinking is a cognitive distortion that occurs when people have a hard time weighing the likelihood of certain outcomes and believe that terrible or catastrophic outcomes, which are highly unlikely, become in one's mind salient and extremely likely.
Mm.
It's just doom and gloom on steroids.
Basically, yeah. In other
Yeah.
words,
Oh gosh, and that's like, and to me, that is like a symptom of sickness. Because a lot of people, again, if it's a physical sickness, they know what to associate it with. That's real sickness because your body's sick. Your nose is running. You got body aches. You got fevers. You got all that stuff. Those are things
mhm.
that people like track and they associate with sick. But sick comes in different forms, especially with thoughts, i.e., catastrophic thinking. Negative thought loops. You know, don't put on the ugly coat. Don't have the backpack full of bricks on your back if you're not going to build nothing with it. The
You know
coat.
what? I think that might be a form of what do they call that? A hypochondriac? That may be like a mental hypochondriac. Like you always thinking of you're always feeling like if I correct me if I'm wrong, but that's when you always looking for a reason to be injured. Like as soon as something happens, you're like, oh, look at me, I'm hurt. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, okay. And I think that that's like a mentality where people like to be the victim, expect to be the
right.
victim, and then it's, to me, could be like a roundabout BS way of getting attention, but it's the wrong type of attention, and we don't want that because as you think, your body goes where you the way you think, the world turns out that way. You're always looking for that stuff. I
I know, but
mean,
I'm saying even when you do it to yourself, you may not be looking for it from another person,
mm,
but you get into the habit of feeling that way for yourself,
right.
and that becomes your comfort zone. You become your own victim blamer on on
Yeah,
repeat.
yeah, and that's a deep groove that's carved in some people's minds, man. And that's like a freaking, not even a fissure; it's a canyon that they carve, and they fall right into it. They fall right into it. So if their thoughts were water, it would easily slip right into that canyon and go and shoot right down that gap and turn into something that's crazy. And turn
Right.
this oh man. And it should be, thought of as like a disease, in
Yeah,
my
I think
opinion.
it is. I think it's definitely like it's definitely a form of mental illness, and I would say one of the things, and the only reason, well, again, that I can speak on this, and even you as well, like these are things that we've experienced and either overcame or are working to overcome. You know what I mean? And I think that one of the ways to do that is just try new things, and try to find different ways to frame some of the thoughts that we have, as far as, for example, instead of saying maybe I shouldn't have beaten yourself up because you have an argument with somebody, and you're sitting there like, hey, damn, I should have said this, I should have said that. But maybe you should just reframe it, like, and get the lesson from whatever the argument was about, or I
Yeah.
don't know, just
Yeah.
maybe try to find a different way to frame the situation, or try to do something new other than what you would have done in that situation before.
Yeah. And that's a call for being in control and not just
Right. Yeah.
letting those thoughts flow down the canyon freely and willy nilly. You have to challenge those things with the truth too, and what the real
Yeah.
truth is, not the conjured up truth or manufactured truth that you have in your mind. She's probably looking at me because she thinks my breath stinks. One, she's 15 feet away from you. Two,
Right.
she's probably looking at you. Maybe she thinks you're familiar. You look like somebody she may know, or maybe she wants to get to know you. You can't sit up here and come up with a narrative. You have to challenge it with the truth, or go seek and discover the truth. You know,
I like that. I like that route.
because
Take the time to seek and discover the truth, and then when people explain to you what their truth is, take them for their word, and don't just interpret. Like, I've had conversations with people. Um, I hope she's not listening. That
too late, too late. You get like 12 plays from her on this episode alone.
I'm sorry. I'm still getting over this little virus, but I've had conversations with people that you may have, you can clearly as day tell them what you're saying, and then no matter what you say, they're going to interpret it to mean exactly whatever it is that they want it to be.
Oh man.
I'm like, hey, baby, I've grown. I'm not the same person I was back then. And she's like, well, hey, she's like, that's just an elegant way for you to say the same bullshit you've been saying for 5 years. Like, what? Like, wait a minute.
Oh my gosh. You can't win, bro.
You,
Like, your dress looks nice today. You're calling me fat. Like, nobody said nothing about anybody being fat. I just said your dress was nice. You're saying it's too tight. You know what? I'm just gonna sit here and shut up because it
yeah,
ain't worth it.
yeah, and not to point anybody out. I'm just using that as an example because we all do that in different ways. And that's something that, I wrestle with as well. Like, just I mean, I guess this is Saturday morning quarterbacking, but I'm more on my Saturday morning quarterbacking. I know the show is Monday morning, but it's all relevant because it is that, like you said, what a cognitive distortion, which means you're creating your own distorted version of reality, and that's not even really what's happening. But you're hell bent on believing it, and it's got you out of touch with what's going on, and it's like it's hindering your progress.
It is. It's like the whole rosebud thing I said before, and it's like you're creating a frustrating situation, and then you're reacting to the frustrating situation that you're creating. You've created
Right.
that. You crafted that yourself. Because some of us play a role in this stuff, and hence the hindsight being what it is, and not using hindsight as a tool, not being a Monday morning quarterback as a position of learning and looking at things from a position
Right.
of love. You have to put yourself in a position to look at it, and toss it. And that's why,
Yeah.
going back to those cultures without these sort of should have, would have, could have words in their, in their vocabulary, they built into their culture not to wear the past on their shoulders. They built into their culture to accept what's happened and figure it out moving forward. And that's what basically, I think, in a nutshell, is what we're trying to say. Let's figure it out moving forward and put some
Right.
action in there. A lot of times, like Monday morning quarterbacking, some of the thoughts are like quick and knee jerk reactions. Some of them is from like what we talked about earlier with ruminating and doing things like that. And I'm like, if I look up ruminating, I'll probably have my picture as one right next to it, like ruminating, C. Marzette, and have me looking like Bert from Sesame Street in there, all pissed off and shit.
Man,
Just a
spoke
single
out. Well,
single
I'm
brow,
earning.
like single
If you're
brown.
Bert, I'm earning.
You know, I'm up there just looking all mad and stuff because I would ruminate. But what people don't know is how much energy our brain uses when it thinks, especially when it loops stuff like that. When you get caught in that,
Right.
the catastrophic thinking, the negative thought loops and stuff like that, and you feel tired. Because I used to get pissed, be like, I am tired, and I thought about this all day. Yeah, you thought about this all day. Not only thought, because sometimes when you think about things, thinking, some people can interpret this as I'm thinking about it, meaning I'm moving forward with this with my thoughts. I'm figuring out a plan with my thoughts. But if you're stuck in a negative thought loop, like I've have done, like what's happened to me plenty of times, that stuff burns up energy.
Right.
Simply put, brain needs two things: oxygen and sugar. Not table sugar, not the white sugar people, just, glucose. And glucose is energy. You use it for energy. I mean, we're like, no, they don't. People be like trying to challenge my shit. But let's just come on, let's just keep it simple. Oxygen and sugar. Now, if you burn up your energy and you using your oxygen, you using your fuel in your body to sit up here and ruminate and think all the time, of course you're gonna be tired. Of course you're gonna feel like something should have gotten done, but it didn't. What you've chosen to do is allow yourself to slip into this state of being frozen because you're being judgmental and you're using your hindsight as a weapon versus as a tool.
Right.
So we have to be active in calling ourselves out on it. And it may hurt the first few times you try it. And you may not want to be wrong again about something. But if you're doing this stuff, you're wrong, damn it. You are
Yeah.
wrong. So you got to call yourself out on it. Hold yourself to a different standard for yourself. And then your surroundings will get better. Hold yourself accountable. Call yourself out. When you do it, challenge it with the truth. When you do it, learn from, if there's something you can learn from this, can I learn from this? Can I build with this brick that I'm holding on to? Can I lay a foundation for me to stand on, which will lift me up higher and push me forward and have me more sturdy and firm for the next encounter? Can I do these things from this? If not, toss it, get rid of it,
Right.
and move forward and live your freaking life, man. And understand, we talk about, oh, well, it's not going to be a utopia and this and this and this, but it ain't got to be bullshit 24/7. And we got to
Right.
stop looking for the bullshit. We talked about that in our episode, The Other Shoe. When people look for the bullshit, they always looking for, you can't look for bullshit 24/7 because that's all you're going to see, and your eyes are going to be tainted. You're going to be looking through the world from those lenses, and that's all you're going to filter out. That is all you're going to filter out. And you're better than that. You're better than that. You were put here for a purpose. Actively find that purpose, but also actively stop Monday morning quarterbacking yourself in negative ass ways that's going to keep you frozen and keep you not being active. Period.
Yeah, and I'm glad you kind of identified and spoke on some some solutions, because through the episode we've been basically identifying what Monday morning quarterbacking is, and we talked about catastrophic thinking and how it can be cognitive distortions, but you know all their solutions. You have to. I would say, how they say the idle mind is the devil's workshop. And I think that that is what causes a lot of the Monday morning quarterbacking is us just being idle. You have to try new things, get new hobbies, challenge yourself, because that mental energy that you're using to Monday morning quarterback and beat yourself up, you could be using that energy in a productive way. But a lot of times we get stuck in these cycles, whether it's your job, whether it's your relationship. There's certain things that we get stuck in that becomes a loop. And those loops become dangerous because that helps us create that idle situation where we're just sitting there, you know, Monday morning quarterbacking.
Exactly. And just for clarification, guys, just because your mind is thinking and working doesn't mean you're not idle. You are idle because you're in a loop. What does a
Right.
car do when a car is idling? A car is it's turned on, the lights are on, but it's still just sitting there parked. The engine's running. We know the motor is alive, but it's idle. And again,
Exactly.
devil's playground. So just take your steps. Sometimes people think you gotta, you're not a long jumper. Sometimes certain things happen, certain synchronicities happen that push you forward fast. But most of the time, you may have to take some baby steps. But a step forward is a step forward, whether it's 2 inches or it's 2 feet. It's a step forward, and you have to get active in your life. You have to get active, and I don't mean, oh, I go to the gym. Okay, that's cool, great, great. But at the same time, get that matter between your ears good, because that's where a lot
Yeah, and
of
there's a such thing, and I'm not, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
go ahead, that happens.
Um, just being in the gym, like for example, I work out quite frequently, and you can get to a point where you plateau. And I realized that just this week because I just detailed a car, and it was a challenge. It was so dusty, and it was a lot more than I bit off a lot more than I can chew. Probably should have charged more, but after I got done, man, I felt sore for the first time, and I've been working out for years, and I've gotten to the point where I don't even really get sore. But doing that vehicle, I ended up getting a lot of working a lot of muscles and stuff like that that I never worked. And I'm not gonna lie, it felt good. Like I challenged my body, and I think that that can be applied also, to your mentality as well. Like you have to challenge yourself. I just sent my mother a 3D puzzle in the mail, and I ended up doing a little research on, the fact that these things, when a lot of people, when they get older, they get Alzheimer's, but the rate of Alzheimer's is higher and dementia is higher for people who are not mentally stimulated, like in their they don't have active social life in their social circles. They don't like challenge their mentality by doing traveling and doing new things. So 3D puzzles are something that you can use to like stimulate your mind and keep your mind going. So I would just say, instead of being a Monday morning quarterback, just be a great quarterback. Be a quarterback that on Monday morning you look at film, look at what you did wrong, come up with a game plan, and be ready for the next week to do something different.
Exactly. And what basically you need to do is just keep building. And speaking of plateauing, a lot of people get caught up in those loops or in that circle because of environment or whatever, and they see the world through those lenses, and they plateau, and that's it. And
Right.
they don't grow anymore, and they don't see a need to, or I'm perfect the way I am. It's like I'm okay, all right, it's cool for this movement, and people are maybe shaming people and doing all this other stuff, but okay, you're perfect where you are right now in this year. But you can't be this year's perfect like 7 years from now. You
Right.
got to be perfect for that time at that moment. And I don't believe in perfection anyway. I believe in excellence, because excellence makes mistakes and learn from them. So we all should strive. Excellence is more achievable. Excellence is a realistic goal. There are ups and downs in excellence. So no one's here is asking you to be perfect, because I am not perfect. None of us are, but we should strive to be excellent and grow. So if you don't have anything else, Jib, I think that we kind of cooked on this one, man, and I feel good. I feel that we're going to be touching some people and getting some good feedback, which we have been getting good feedback. So thanks everybody. We're getting a good core of people. One of these on one of these episodes, we might have to come up with something. We're gonna have to name our tribe, name our followers, and I think that people like to be in a good positive group of folks that like to move forward as a collective and stuff. So we're trying to reach out to you guys and help you guys and in a sense help ourselves. So thank you all. We appreciate it. Just hit us up, giftedandinsane@gmail.com. Leave us a comment, and then if you want to be anonymous, or if you want us to read your stuff, we will read your stuff on the episode and give you props. And of course we'll give you props anyway for just supporting anyway. So, Jip, you got anything else? Because if not, that's gonna be it for me.
No, brother. I think I left everything on the court tonight.
I heard that. Yeah, it's always good. Sometimes that first baby step is going to be hard, but it's an easy one if you turn hindsight into a tool versus a weapon. So for my man Jabri, I'm Marzette. This has been another episode of The Gifted and Insane. We hope that these words will help you, heal you, and elevate you. You guys, as always, stay up and be safe. I'm out.
Peace, love, and blessings.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Gifted and Insane featuring Marzette and Jabri. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening. You guys have a great day. Peace.